Welcome to Learning to Glow, a show about wellness, skin health, and self-development. I'm your host, Jess. I'm a mom, entrepreneur, and skincare expert. I'm so excited to share tips on how to achieve healthy skin and bring amazing guests in the field of health, fitness, aging gracefully, and personal growth. Let's explore all different ways we can take care of ourselves as women, both inside and out, to truly shine. So let's get glowing. Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for being here today with me. I am joined by a fantastic guest. Her name is Daffney Allwein, a 20-year exercise physiologist who works with high-performing type A professionals. And we had such a great conversation. She's amazing. All about making fitness feel realistic, especially when life feels busy. Your nervous system is overloaded, which I think a lot of us can relate to that, and when you don't have hours to spend at the gym. We talk about the why I'm too busy, quote unquote, is often more about priorities and time, how phone use and constant overstimulation can drain our energy, and why even a simple 20-minute walk can be so powerful. She also shares how to build strength and functional muscle in your 40s with some really, really good tips. So stay tuned for that and find movement you actually enjoy. Some really great ways to start our mornings. So I know we've talked about morning routines on the show before, but I love how powerful her little quick suggestions are to, ways to start your day so that you are off to a great start. So you'll definitely love this one. You can go to the show notes and find Daffney and her information. She also has a podcast, so make sure to listen to that. And thank you. Enjoy this one. Hello, everyone. Welcome to our show today, and welcome Daffney Allwein. Thank you for being on Learning to Glow today.
Thank you for having me.
I'm so excited to have you. We're going to have fun today. I can just tell by our pre-recording chat. So I would love it. We have so many good topics that we're going to discuss with you. But if you could start by just introducing yourself and tell us a little bit about you and what you do, and then we can go from there.
Love to. Thank you. Thank you. So 20-year, I know, exercise physiologist. I work with really type A, high functioning CEOs, professionals who really are looking to make sure that they're integrating performance as part of their actual health routine. So a lot of the things that I work with clients is about integrating their central nervous system and their mindset and their actual physical movement, because we know if we're not integrating all three areas, we are missing the boat on a few. So I have been doing this for 20 years. I am also an older new mom, as I like to say. So I started having kids in my 40s, not by choice of my own, but I am loving this new chapter of my life as I figure out if it's a post-menopause or perimenopause or a postpartum every single day.
God. I love it. Okay, so you have lots of experience. I read on your website that you started in fitness when you were 19, teaching seniors how to dance to Britney Spears. I was like, I have to mention that because I love Britney. That seniors. Is amazing.
They were like, I need to know how to do that quick step. And I'm like, I don't think I know how to, but sure, let's take
They probably loved Britney too.
Yes.
I love it. Oh my gosh. So now you're not working with seniors anymore. You're working with, I'm sure you're working with all different types of clients, but I want to talk about, it's been kind of a theme, especially this time of year. It gets really busy for the moms who have kids in school. Everything is happening. We're needing to be at the school and volunteering. We're busy with our jobs. Busyness is like kind of a hot topic lately on the show. And it's something, that I hear from other women. And so I like to take it here because if that's what I'm hearing out there in the world, that's what people want to, talk about. And I think for people that you work with, your clientele, they are super busy. They're very successful, driven people. And maybe this is like a section of their life where I feel like it can be easy to just say, I don't have time for that. And I would love to know, what do you tell those people? I mean, obviously they're coming to you because they want help and they know that maybe it's affecting them. Maybe the not looking at the health, shutting their eyes and not looking at the health part of their life is catching up to them, or they're having some negative consequences. And so they have a lot on their plate. How do you help them see this is something that we need to prioritize?
I like that you said that people say, I don't have time for that. That's exactly what I say to them. It's kind of funny. And this is a hot take on this one. I hate the word busy. Like I shouldn't say, well, I'm going to say hate, unapologetic. That's what I do here. Like I hate the word busy because it's manufactured. It is not a real word. It's something that we like fill up our schedule with and we come up with new reasons to not focus. So whenever somebody tells me, especially a client, and these high performing folks say, oh, I'm just too busy for that. I'm like, busy is not a real word. Why don't you tell me what it really is? And often the response is they are not prioritizing the things that actually matter, or the things that they're saying matter. So we have removed the word busy from all of our sessions. Anytime somebody tells me, I'm too busy, and I'm like, what you're really saying is that this is not a priority to you right now. And I think that's fair. I think as women, summer is a great time to actually talk and think about these sort of things where, women take on a second career or a second job in the summer because for a number of folks, there is less support with childcare. They're not in school. You become a cruise director for your kids and everybody else around you, and you have to, worry about their social circles and, they're falling behind X, Y, and Z. But the truth is, that if we are not prioritizing or deciding to not be busy and not fall into the busy trap, we're really shooting ourselves in the foot here, right? Like, so when I talk with clients and when I work with clients about that, oh, I'm so busy, I'm not gonna be able to schedule that. I'm like, well, if it's a priority, let's call it what it is. Priority by definition means first, and as in like the first thing you do. So easiest tip, easiest hack is it's got to happen first thing in the day.
Yeah, I feel like especially this is good because summer is here and I feel like it is definitely from personal experience so much harder to do a lot of things in the summer. So you're saying, I mean, do you recommend people just get up? You got to get up early, right?
Sometimes it is because I get to work one on one with a number of people. We can get really into the weeds on what that means to their schedule because sometimes if you're breastfeeding then they like it's that sort of thing. For the men, they're not worrying about that obviously, but that is one of the easiest ways to transform your schedule. Is it only has to be 30 minutes. You don't have to like put 2 hours out of your clock. Like taking a 20-minute walk, check the stats on this one, check the science on this, is such a transformative opportunity for your brain, your body, and your nervous system first thing in the morning. So if you have the opportunity to walk on a treadmill, not be checking emails, not be scrolling the talks, right? Like literally out in nature, eyes out, right? Seeing something new, feeling yourself breathing, taking 20 minutes is a great factory reset and such an easy bar of entry. You don't need equipment. You put on a pair of shoes and you go.
Yeah, I know. And I love that you can get so many things done in 30 minutes. When you're having somebody come to you and if they're new to fitness or they're like they're just remotivated, they want to get a program started. A lot of times people, and these are people that I've talked to who are like, okay, well, I have to go to the gym to do that. And I need an hour. And then you have the drive time. So talk to that person who thinks they have to do all of those things in order to make a big change.
I think that's a lot of outside influences, right? So the perception is that if I'm not doing it perfectly or if I'm not doing a big thing, it doesn't count. I always joke with clients too who like can't get their watch to start at the beginning of a session. And I jokingly say, well, it's not going to count if you don't start, right? So that's a good tie-in and like conversation starter where when you women, we do this very often, have this incredible expectation about what fitness looks like or what a fitness session looks like or a health choice. When we throw that perfectionism point into it, that's where we're really kicking ourselves, right? Because if we set the bar at a 20-minute walk, if we set the bar at not starting with scrolling on your phone, like there are so many things you can do to benefit your health that don't involve you getting in your car or having a place to go or having additional care or resources. It's right here in front of you. And I think that's the fallacy, right? Like that's what we keep telling ourselves, that is, we don't go to the gym, we don't do this. The other trick, if you are going to leave the house, because I know a lot of times it's like, oh, I can't leave the house. I have this, right? Or I'm not wearing the right outfit. Oh my God, it's a whole nother thing. But anyway, but the point is, one of the easy ways is creating community around your workout. So there are opportunities, whether you're meeting with other moms to work out or other people that you work with. And I think that's always the trick. So because I get to work one on one with people, it's really exciting because they're coming to me, right? Like this is their social, this is their network, this is their connection. And when you have that appointment, you're not going to skip it. You're not going to deprioritize that if you have people waiting for you.
Yeah, I love the friend workout system and like that. I don't have a problem working out, but the walks, I just find them to be so much more fun if I can meet a friend for a walk. And I keep seeing all these little reels on Instagram saying, walking with a friend for 20 minutes and like all the benefits that come with it and the connection
Yes.
that comes with it. The fact that, you know what? I can't just say I don't feel like it because I have somebody waiting for me at the park. I have to go. And then afterwards, the feeling of going and how great it is, I think is
Yes.
so amazing. And I think for a lot of people that I've talked to, specifically about not having enough time, but then they're like, I don't want to work out at home because I'm not motivated. When I'm in the gym, I work harder. I don't know because people are watching me. I'm not sure. But what do you say to those people? Because I feel like if you're short on time, it's so underrated to just work out at home.
I like that. I like that. Well, luckily, post COVID, we have a lot of like actual opportunities virtually, right? To actually meet with people online.
Sure.
I meet all of my clients virtually at this point. So I actually don't go into a gym. I don't go into an office anymore. I don't go into a facility. I meet everybody virtually. So that's one opportunity if you're really looking for someone to come into your space with you so you can skip that commute. The other side is like just sort of looking at what do you enjoy in your exercise routine. So, like you said, I need to be inspired. I need to have some stimulus, right? That in that sort of way. So, group classes are great for that. I have found that this is to be true over 20 years of doing this, that people usually fall into one of two categories when it comes to exercise. You are a solo exerciser or you're a community exerciser. And there's just a clear distinction between the two. So which what camp you fall into. And I think by not shaming yourself into that self solo workout, if that is not your jam, is probably the best thing you can do. So if it is that you want to enjoy what you're doing, the other thing is not every workout class is created equally. We're smart women. We're older now, and we know that ego and competition in these structures or these classrooms are actually not benefiting us. In fact, a lot of times it's telling us to turn off the sensors in our body and ignore pain, which we know as soon as somebody gets started, they start a workout class and they're like, I'm going to ignore, I'm going to push through, I'm going to be the toughest person in this class. Guess who gets hurt within the first month and then loses all that traction? So I'm going to say it two ways. If you are somebody who thrives in community exercise, and that's a good thing, you're either one camp or the other. It's not good or bad either way. And you're right. Don't talk yourself into solo workout if that's not your speed. But choose exercise that feels like joy, that feels like fun for two reasons. One, you're never going to lead with your ego and get hurt unnecessarily. And two, you are far more likely to return.
Yeah, I love the tip of, because I didn't even think of this. Like you can be home alone and still in community online
Sure.
and work out. And I love that because that is not something that I thought of. I actually like doing both. I like to work out at home and by myself, and I love going out and taking a class. I love walking with friends. But for somebody who's like, okay, if I'm going to get this done, I really don't have the time to leave the house, or I have young kids and I can't leave them, especially in the summer.
Yes.
But I can still meet up with people online or find a program online that has other people. That's a great, great tip for our listeners because I think that will really help a lot of people. So I have a question about people who are, we'll talk about women here because I know you work with both, but women, for our audience, a lot of times I hear that women are feeling stuck. This could be in like more than one thing. Like I'm stuck at this weight, or I'm
Mm,
stuck not being able to get that drive to do something about it or to get back into my fitness routine, which I
yeah.
wasn't, or even start one for the first time. How do you help with that feeling for your clients? How do you help them get through that?
Yeah. I mean, when we're talking like plateaus, right? Where you're in a performance plateau or you're just in a motivational plateau, which there's two different approaches that I would use in that context. If it is a performance plateau, the greatest thing you can ever do in the world of exercise is do something new. Like be a beginner again, be novice, make mistakes, look silly, because a lot of times I do that to my clients anyway, because they are stuck in a routine. We're not seeing, we know through science at this point that cross training is the most beneficial thing we can do. Every athlete on the planet cross trains. You know, you could be a football player doing ballet. You can be swimming, you know, in conjunction with your skiing. You know, it's, we know the benefits now that like having a straight training. I often bump into marathoners that I have to completely reorient because they're thinking, well, I'm a marathoner. That means I run every single day. And I said, I have done quite a few marathons in my day and very big marathons in the way that I only have ever run 4 days a week in marathon training ever. And I'm talking like Boston Marathon. Like it's just, we need to be really thoughtful about the idea that our muscles work in different ways and we need to be able to condition them in the same way. So if it is a performance plateau, the first thing I tell anybody to do is be okay being a novice at something new or something different, because that's where change happens. You can't do the same thing every day and expect different results, right? If it is a motivation plateau, because I think that's also someplace where we are, this is a little deeper work. And this is some of my favorite work when I'm working with clients is we got to figure out what your why is again.
Thank you for that great answer. I want to talk a little bit more with the motivation piece. And also, you mentioned something in the beginning that I want to just circle back to real quick. And I think this is a good time to do it because you mentioned the nervous system, and the nervous system can be something, and this goes back to being busy. If somebody is feeling bombarded in a lot of ways, like busyness, and that affects our nervous system, for example, I can see this being a direct correlation to that motivation piece of, I think we can kind of make it in our heads to seem like too big of a thing it's hard to break down when you have this goal and you have also this busy life and you're like, how am I supposed to break this down? It seems so overwhelming. I feel like it's this big cycle of how it can affect our brains and the nervous system because it's just so intertwined. So when you talk about the nervous system and when it relates to our fitness and our health. Can you talk about that a little bit? Because it's a hot topic. Like I hear people talking about nervous system, regulation.
Yeah.
It's such a buzzword, but when it comes to our health and our fitness, can you break that down a little bit of what you like to talk about with your clients?
Yeah, I mean, this is actually the reason I launched a podcast. Like, literally, is because this is the conversation that I'm having with my clients that I realize nobody else is having with theirs or with the world at large. Is that the nervous system? And let me clarify what that is. The nervous system is your body's security system. So everything that's happening external to your body is constantly setting off alarms or awareness in your body, right? So you can't be in a relationship with a narcissist and expect to have a healthy life, right? Like you're not in a safe environment, you're not in a productive environment. So when I talk about the central nervous system, particularly with clients, the conversation is around what is holding you back or what is draining your energy or what's keeping you from moving forward. And a lot of times there's so many alarms going off in our body, or we're wasting energy on those different parts of our life that we don't even have the time or the energy or the focus to invest back into fitness. So here's a good example. You wake up in the morning, right? And first thing out of bed, what do you do? First thing, like eyes open, what do you do?
Me personally,
Yeah.
or most people.
See all of the above. What do you got?
Yeah, I mean, I think I try my best to go downstairs and start my routine. And the phone is like, I think, such a problem because, and I used to go straight to my phone.
Same.
Yeah. So it's now especially if I'm waking up early and I have time to do my morning routine, I go straight downstairs and the phone is aside. But that's really something that you have to be conscious of. If I'm like sleeping in and I'm still have to do all my morning stuff, I get up and I check my phone because I'm like, okay, what do I have going on
What did I
today? Oh my
miss?
God, what did
Who's
I
trying
miss?
to who's trying to
But
get
then,
me?
but then you can even feel like that the difference of like, and like I have to look at
Yeah.
my phone and what that does. But I know many people who that's the first thing that they
Yeah.
do.
Yeah. And the busier you are, the more important you are, because I have to give this hard love conversation with my clients, my type A folks, is if you are waking up first thing in the day, right? And you're picking up your phone, guess who you are giving all your energy away? Guess who you are allowing to set off all of your alarms first thing in the morning?
Yeah.
You're actively choosing that. And I'm not here to shame anybody. I'm just here to be very direct about awareness that you have a choice here. The world is happening around you. Your nervous system is aware of the earth that's going on, or the stimulus is outside of you, but you do play a part in that choice to say, my eyes are open. I need to see if anything is if there's any bears chasing me, right? Or in most cases for my clients who emailed me with an emergency, right? Because most of the people in your house at that moment are the people that you need to like prioritize, right? Yourself, your offspring, right? And you're probably your partner in that regards, right? So when you are instantly choosing to look at the bear that's not necessary to chase you, right? You're giving away a lot of that valuable information and also setting off your nervous system right out of the gate first thing in a negative way, in a downward spiral. The other piece to that is that once that happens, most of my clients, and this is when we start to meet and integrate some of these changes in their life, is they're recognizing that they're also armoring up first thing in the morning. So they are preparing for a fight. They're literally waking up in the day, waiting for resistance, waiting for bad news, ready to take on a coworker that's sort of a pain in the whatever, or fellow C-suite person who's ready to challenge them every single day. They're literally waking up, putting on 30 pounds of armor. I mean, that's how much energy does that take? Or they're costuming for the day. They're putting on tons of, whatever they need to costume to distance or create a facade for safety. Like one of the things that we're doing first thing in the morning is anticipating an issue. And it's such an energy waste suck of time and also resources that we could be investing back into something else.
Yeah, I can feel like that description that you have, it like makes me feel stressed. Like just
Yes.
doing that type of day.
Yeah.
Well, give us an optimal day. Give us an optimal day that, or some alternatives that we could do. And I know we've heard a lot about morning routines. We've talked a lot about morning routines, but I think beyond just an ideal morning routine, what are just some things that we can do to set us up for that more regulated system? I have a tracker. I have a watch that tracks my stress. And I'll look down when I'm in situations and it'll be like my stress is through the roof. And I'm like, this isn't even like
Yeah.
a
I haven't
big
moved a
deal.
step.
Yeah, I'm like,
I haven't moved a step. Yeah.
why am I showing stress signs like this when I'm maybe in the school parking lot? Or like why is it like
Yeah.
going so crazy? And I feel like if I'm starting first thing in the morning with the stress going high, that cannot set me up for a good positive day.
Yeah, I mean, there are a lot of like quips and things you can do, there's different physical exercises that will ground you first thing in the morning. So if you're looking for like tips and things but what it all comes down to is the idea that we wake up and do a body scan, or we wake up and actually live inside our own body and not let our central nervous system dictate that stress level. Because it's funny you said that. You're like, I'm in the school parking lot. Am I just stressed about being stressed? Like what is it? Or, that's part of the physiology. So if you're in the school parking lot, maybe the thought is, what am I trying to protect myself from? Is it like judgment? Is it other people's opinions? Is it being rear-ended by this jerk behind me? Like it's we are armoring up, and it's exactly like you're saying, it is spiking our stress. Sometimes it doesn't matter. Sometimes it's just somebody going too slow in front of you and you have to stop. Think about what is actually like, am I actually in danger? Am I actually like, do I need to take on this fight? But I think that's typical. Like that's sort of social conditioning right now. People are always waiting for what bad can happen ahead of them. And the alternative to that, and what I really ask my clients to do is when they wake up in the morning, is to find an opportunity to sit. And this could take 5 minutes. It doesn't have to take 30, it doesn't have to take 2 hours, but to sit in their own body, to sit in their own awareness. And sometimes with folks with the arthritis, that doesn't feel so good either. But it is one of those things where you calling the shots first thing and saying, okay, I'm holding this warm beverage in my hand, because we know studies tell us that warm beverages help us and help hard conversations too. If you have to talk to or tell somebody bad news one day, holding something warm in your hand physically connects you via temperature, right? So all of a sudden you're in your body. There's something warm in your hands. This is why cryotherapy sometimes is important, too, or just hot and cold therapies that we use. But holding something warm in your hands is such an easy fix, especially when you put your attention on the heat, your hands, what's going on. And talk about dropping your stress level, right? You're not worried about a bear chasing you, about, that sort of thing. You're focusing very intently, and that takes 5 minutes. There's also other options if you want to go deeper. If you happen to be somebody who's looking into personal development, personal growth, a lot of times I start with a question first thing in the day. So before letting the rest of the world determine what I'm going to think about, how I'm going to move forward, maybe I start with a question about myself. Or maybe my other favorite thing is that I do with clients is I make them tell themselves, I don't need to know this, what's something they did yesterday that made them proud of themselves.
I love that. I didn't know that about I mean, it makes perfect sense. The warm beverage in your hand when you're going to tell somebody bad news or have a conversation.
By the way, yes.
I love that. I mean,
Hand them a coffee. Yeah.
it is so comforting to sit with a hot beverage, I think, well, that's why they say it can be stressful on the body to have the cold beverages, like the iced coffees and all that stuff. I've talked about that on the podcast. I have a bit of an addiction, but I do start my day with the hot water. And even at the end of the night, I feel like that is kind of my unwind too, my cup of hot tea, because just holding it, I mean, it feels like, I just feel like I'm the epitome of wellness when I do it. I'm just I'm such a wellness person just by holding it. But I love that. And then asking a question, I think in just like, it just seems when you paint that picture, you're not asking for much. It doesn't have to be a 2-hour event to start your day in the right way.
Yes. That's it. It's just that simple. It really is 5 minutes. It doesn't require, whatever big box gym, event. Like we joked about, like with like the watch is counting, if, it's happening. And the fact that you are actively connected to your own body is actually far beyond what most people are doing, because most people are operating to optimize, right? In their mind, they're doing this like, I need to do faster, more, that sort of thing. But they never shut down the engine for repairs. And that's where we miss out on the opportunities.
Yeah. And I love that it's so reasonable. You don't have to, it's like bite sized, that you can make such a big difference. When you work with women over 40, let's say, and you're talking about health and fitness, what are some things that you like to focus on in those years when it comes to fitness?
Yeah, a lot of it is like third chapter, as I like to call it. So, we train our bodies for aesthetics. We want people to be impressed by our aesthetics. We, in our 30s, start to realize that we're really training for, in some cases, if that's your choice, to become a mom, right? I really encourage that, by the way. If you are in a window where you want to be a mom, start training now, because it's one of those things where the better you go into it, the better the outcome is long term. When you're in your 40s, it is a whole different chapter of fitness. And I think it's always funny. We're still looking back at the 20-year-old Instagram folks doing this and that. But the truth is, when you're in your 40s, we are now in a place where we're trying to build for longevity. We're trying to build for the long haul. And we're being very smart and intentional not to use our ego in this chapter, because there really is no direct comparison, right? Your life, your history, your injuries, your perimenopause, your how long it's been since you've had a baby, like your workload, your life is not something that will ever be completely where you have a peer involved. They're different. So in 40s, we get really intentional about the longevity of it, where Do I want to be able to run into my 70s? Do I want to be able to play with my grandkids and be able to pick them up and that sort of thing? I think we become really smart and intentional that our ego is not going to move us forward. In fact, it's always going to work against us in our 40s.
Yeah, I know. My mom and I talk about this. We went into a class one time and she did too much weight.
Yeah.
And she hurt herself. She injured herself. And she was like just pushing in, she's in such amazing shape and she looks so good. But she does like to keep up and push herself, and especially in that kind of environment. And she,
Yeah.
such a lesson for her because I don't know if she's ever been the same since that injury. She's always has to kind of make sure she's careful about it.
Yeah.
And it is it's such a good thing to let go of, even though it's hard. I think especially in a group setting, it can be hard
Yeah.
to let
Yeah.
go of that, but really being able to go, okay, this is my limit for now. And that's okay, is a really good lesson.
Yeah, we blame this on the men. We blame the men. We're like, "Oh, the men are just ego. They're hurting themselves. They're pulling." No, we do it too as women. We absolutely do. But if we're reading our DEXA scans that are coming around this time too, and we've already let these small humans that we've invented, I like to say created, leaching from our bodies, the last thing we want to do at this point, if we are considering long-term longevity, is how much can we put back in? How much muscle can we hold on to? So it is. It's changing hats, it's changing way of thinking, but it's tough when you've always gotten validation from being fit and, able to keep up. It's a hard realization to say, I don't need to showcase anymore. I just need to build a really intense infrastructure so that I can keep going.
So if you're trying to build, because we all know that we lose muscle as we get older, and we want to maintain that and make sure maybe increase it. Maybe there's a real lack of muscle, and you're going
Yeah.
into your 40s, and now you're like, okay, I need to make sure I prevent further muscle loss and gain muscle. Like,
Mhm.
what's kind of the standard for getting that muscle when it comes to fitness? Say you have a runner, and
Yeah.
I thought it was interesting that you said only 4 days a week was the most that you've ever done, and you were a marathon runner,
Mhm.
or you are, I don't know if you still do marathons, but
Yep.
yes. Okay. So if you're doing, like, you say you have somebody who's just, doing more of the cardio side of it, but they want to be aware of the muscle that they're losing and they want to put some on, what is kind of the standard that you would recommend for getting your strength training in?
Let me bisect that question even more because there are different types of muscle too. And I think that's the other thing that people miss. When they think muscle, they're thinking muscle across the board. But
Mhm.
we have fast twitch, we have slow twitch muscles, right? We have, which, is skeletal, it's structural. So the things that are sort of not more dynamic, not like how heavy can I bench press my chest, those sort of things are much different than the skeletal muscle that is holding your posture, holding your spine in place, and making sure that you are in good alignment to move forward. So there are different jobs to the muscle. So I think whenever we like talk about muscle, we're just like, oh, I'm building muscle. I'm like, what muscle are you building? Like what is the purpose behind this? So to answer your question, there are definitely specific routines when it comes to advancing dynamic muscle. So that's generating power away from the body, right? So biceps, chest, glutes, quads, all your big major muscle groups, right? But we should never ignore those secondary, tertiary muscles that are literally helping you stand or get up from the toilet in some ways, right? Keeping you from tipping over. So the answer is in that explanation that just because you are lifting for strength or you're lifting for power, we should also be doing exercises that are dance or movement or multi-plane movements because that functional muscle growth is just as important because well, if you only ever do arm day, it's easy to topple over if you can, yeah. But does that make sense? So it's not as
Yeah.
simple as, all right, you need to do chest on Mondays and blah, blah. So I always kind of giggle, especially in 40 plus, when someone's like, oh, chest day. And I'm like, that worked in your 20s, right? When like,
Yeah.
yeah. So you have the skeletal muscle to hold you up and you don't have to worry about those things. So does that answer your question?
Yeah, I love that. Oh, that kind
Okay.
of goes back to you talking about how critical cross training is, right? Like, and
Yes,
doing different
absolutely.
things. So tell me, say we're doing strength training as women. Okay, this is like what I think is really good, but you tell me. I love like incorporating, because I do strength training, but I love incorporating Pilates or yoga. And is that something that would help with those other muscles that you're talking about?
Absolutely. I mean, you're talking about really engaging at a skeletal level, right? Insertion origin parts of the bone and the muscle structure. So this might be going too deep down the rabbit hole. Let me know
No,
when
you're
it gets
good.
when it gets sciencey and boring. But the whole point is the beauty of yoga and Pilates is it is a active movement, right? Because when you're watching somebody stand in the mirror at the gym and they're doing a isolated bicep curl, right? That never happens in real life, right? Like, when in your real life do you ever just do this movement? No, like if you're picking up the groceries, you're walking and holding, right? Like, it is a dynamic movement. So, what I love about yoga and Pilates and dance and all these other opportunities is it's mimicking real life motion, which is really what you want at this point, right? Like, you don't care how big your biceps are because, your Tinder profile or whatever, right? Like, the point is, like, show muscles are wonderful, they're beautiful, but if we don't have the functional muscles in place with the exercises you're talking about, which are great ways to build that, then we're really just building a house out of toothpicks at this point. So
Oh, good. Okay, perfect. I love that. And then, the walking, I'm sure that's something that you recommend daily. Is that like how?
I do,
Yeah.
and literally in the frame that a lot of times it's not a big you're not getting a lot of points on your Garmin, right? On your step counter, you might be getting some steps, but what you're really getting is a mental health break. You're giving your body, same thing we talked about, a chance to reconnect, reassess what's going on. So it's really sort of a physical mental check-in. And if you're going to say something like about something that happened in a meeting, it's better that you walked outside and got some fresh air involved too, right? So I think the walk is less about like dynamic growth in our muscle structure and more about the mental health and the nervous system and the body, just doing that check in that we need to be doing throughout the day.
There was one thing that I got really positive out of COVID. It was my love of walking. I did not walk before COVID. I walked, but not often. And now it's just such a big part of my life. And it's something I enjoy so much. And I thank goodness for that, because that was not a part. I used to think it was kind of a waste of time. Like I could be doing something else, something
Yeah.
harder. That was kind of my mindset about walking. And now it's just like, and also it's like I said, that social opportunity for me. There's so many friends that I can meet. We're not going to the club anymore. We're going to the park and we're going on a
Yes.
walk.
Yes.
So at least I still get to see them. Just we have coffee instead of shots, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, but your priorities shift, right? And
Yeah.
that's part of like the fundamentals of friendship is, and I agree with you. During COVID, that's how I met most of my neighbors. As I like started walking, I was like, "Oh, hi! I know we have 6 feet here, but we should have a conversation." But I think this is a really dynamic conversation in progression of friendships and relationships in that regard because it's tough. Like, you have kids, your life changes, your friends change, your circles change. The fact that you can create a bar of entry where like everybody can participate in a walk and everybody, right? Like, you're just including people back into your life who probably didn't want to go to that weird, painting class with booze that we didn't or doing. But like everybody can take a walk. Like, it's not that hard. So I think it's actually a really big opportunity to connect with people who aren't heavy into fitness or dynamic and their ego or their showing of their marathon training or things like that, right? Like, not all your friends want. I know I'm still having text chains in a group chats with my friends where it's like, I'm not doing anything more than a 10 miler anymore. And I'm like, that's fine. Yeah.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
but this is a great social opportunity for you guys to actually, because we know that two nervous systems together can actually be beneficial, right? So when we're actually a friend comes in with an elevated nervous system and you're able to balance them out, or you're both elevated and you can both come down to with a walk, there's so many benefits to that.
Yeah, I know. And yeah, that's true with somebody who's had an elevated, or there's like something that I want to work out and talk about. It's so nice to do that on a walk. I even have a girlfriend that she lives farther from me. We can't get together in person, but she'll call me and we'll
Yes.
do
Yeah,
it like
put
that
somebody
too.
in your ear, and I love that. That's sometimes how I had to catch up with my sisters is I'm like, I'm on a walk, I'm in between meetings, but I want to call you and talk about this. So, yeah, that's a great opportunity now. Thank you, technology.
Yeah, I know. It's really great. And there's not very many friends that I have that they pick up the phone. I have one friend who she does not text, she calls. And it's like
Yeah.
so nice. Really appreciate that. At first, you're like, oh gosh, a phone call. But then you're like, oh no, no, this is good.
Yes.
I like it. So I could talk to you all day. You are amazing. I
Thank
would
you.
love if you could tell us how can people work with you, where we can find you, all of that good stuff.
Yeah, so if you want to check out the work that myself and my team are doing, it's at Lift, Lift Pro Wellness. That gives you a really good idea of what we're doing, who we're working with, and how we can help in that regards. I also meet with corporate groups and do these really great talks in groups and teams and helping people move forward collaboratively. But as I mentioned, I also started a podcast last year just so we could have these big conversations. And you can find us on Apple, Spotify, and YouTube. It is, oh, I hope you bleep this out. Don't fucking shrink podcast. So it is really about, as you can tell about our conversation today, it is about getting to the truth of it and not focusing on shrinking, whether that's personally or physically or emotionally with coming to this next chapter of our lives.
I love it. Obviously, people listening are podcast listeners. So I'm going to link everything in the show notes.
Thank
Everybody
you.
just go and follow Daffney, check out her podcast. And thank you so, so much for coming on and sharing with us.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Thank you for listening to this week's episode. Please subscribe and review so we can reach more people who want to learn to glow alongside us. See you next time.